Hi, I'm Łukasz Żeligowksi, and you can just call me Luke. It's okay, it's easier. As I said, I'm on vacation right now. However, I'm very glad to join this meetup and tell you something about our software. I'm managing the company which is creating the software which helps people to mine, to be miners. And I'm not talking about cloud mining, but about real mining, that someone owns some hardware and then he needs something to manage. And my question first question is, who is a miner? Oh, great. That's super. Very good. Okay, so let's say what we need. Just a second. Okay, so what we need to be a miner? First of all, we need to build a rig. And I'm talking about GPU mining, because as far as you know, there are right now two ways of mining. First is that we are using regular graphic cards as let's say machines to mine, but the second we can use ASICs. This is the specialized machines, and both ways got some pros and some cons. However, the easiest way to start is to build a rig. It means we are building a regular PC with few GPU cards on board. And we need to install it, I mean by hardware, you have to put somehow the cards in the box and so on, but we also need to install some software. It could be Windows, why not? It could be Linux, why not? But it requires some knowledge. And it's not very easy. We also need to configure it from the hardware point of view. So this is not so easy that you put the cards to the power on and it works. No, it's not that way. It's much more complicated. However, it's possible to be done even by some beginners. It's not too hard. But what is much harder is that we need to tune the cards. We need to find proper overclocking settings, BIOS flashing, and that words will become your daily usage words. BIOS flashing, anti-flash, and some other crazy words. And then you also need to really like a command line tool, because all miners use command line tools. So if you don't like the command line, then probably it will be much harder. Maybe some miners right now are easier. However, the main miners for mining Ethereum or mining some Zcash or the other stuff are still very low-level programs. And when you got to this point that you install the proper software, you configure it, you got all the miner software installed, then you need to keep it running. And this is the hardest part, because when the machine is running, it earns money. When it's not running, it's spend your money, because probably when it hangs on, it still consumes energy. And it's not good, because they are not producing, but still you have to pay for electricity, and it costs money. So the most important part is to keep it running. And of course, you have to manage the settlements. I mean, if you've got some, not a private mining machines, but you want to manage a bigger mining farm, let's say 100, 1,000 or 10,000 devices, then it became a little nightmare to manage it all. Even when you've got 10 machines, it's not easy to keep it running, to configure it, when you need to change, for example, the coin which you want to mine. Let's say today I'm mining Ethereum, but I discovered Ethereum Classic is much better. And then I need to connect to every computer, one by one, change all the settings. Sometimes it even means that I have to reprogram the cards, because, for example, you should use different overclocking settings and BIOS settings for mining Ethereum than mining Zcash, because there are different kind of algorithms with different requirements for speed or performance. So, on the end, it's really very hard to avoid that kind of situation, that you really got a hammer in the head and destroy everything. We started, my company, we were interested in mining and as a software house. On the beginning it was very, very fun, because sometimes when developers used to work only with the software, no, the developers used to work with the software, but there was a moment when we started to work with the hardware there. They started to install the cards, and they were happy. Everyone was happy. Yeah, something new, something completely different. Yeah? Not only codes, but also something real. After 2 weeks, it becomes a nightmare. Yeah? They say, no, we don't like it. We don't want it. And how many developers do we have here? Yeah, I'm a developer. You know, the developers are the laziest people on the world. They don't like to work.
That's a good developer.
No.
They
prefer when the machine works for them. And this is why they code. Yeah, because when they have to change 5 files, 5 JPEGs, want to change the name or size of 5 photos. You don't open an application and make 5 times resizing. You write a code which do this for you. You spend much more time for it, but it's much more fun. So, yeah, don't panic. We said, okay, let's do some software which helps to manage the mining farm. Doesn't matter if it's small, like 5 or 2 machines, but also when it's really huge. Yeah? This is how we create the easyMINE. And in few words, or by one picture, what's easyMINE? easyMINE is something with this server and operating system. We created a specialized Linux distribution, which is open source, of course. And you don't need to bother yourself to install any kind of software. You just flash the pen drive, you plug into the machine, turn on, and it works. You don't have to do anything. There is all on the board, all software, all utilities and everything. And you even don't need to connect the monitor to it or keyboard, because that machine needs only internet connection and connects to our server. And you can also connect to the server through the web application, almost standard website, and you can see all your computers. So, and you can manage them remotely. So you can be really on some South Miami beach with the drink in the hand and mobile in the second, and you can manage your mining farm, which is located in
Iceland?
Let's say in Washington, yeah? Because I heard that there is a very cheap energy in Washington State.
That's right, yeah.
So, in few steps, I want to show you how it looks like. Very simple dashboard where you can see every machine, some summarized information about all your machines. On the left side, we can see the GPUs machines. On the right side, you can see the ASICs. So we can manage also the ASICs, the specialized machines. You can see what's going on, how many are online, how many machines got some warnings, maybe you need to do something with them, or how many are offline, what happens, because the machines sometimes hangs on and they require some hardware low-level operation, plug out, plug in, and then we started to work. You can see all your machines in the details, you can see all details of one machine, particular one. You can see there are 6-card GPU machine. You can see the is there a mouse? Okay, so you can see there's a chart which shows each card performance. So you can see if there is any problem. You can see which card causes the problem. You can find all the details, technical details of the machine. So you can find, for example, the local IP, the external IP. So you can sometimes connect to this machine. You can see details of each graphic card which you've got. And this is very important because when you've got, let's say, 20 cards, you sometimes need to know what kind of card it is. If it's the AMD or it's NVIDIA, or maybe when you got AMD, which type of it is. It's RX 580 or 570 or Giga or whatever. And you can also see, and this is one of the most important part, because there is for example, warning, and that warning says that the one card reported lowering hash power. And on the table below, you see some kind of event history. And our system is not only collecting the data, what's going on with the machine, but it's also trying to interact with the machine. So in case we see that there is one card is on, the system is trying to repair the situation automatically. So first it tries to restart the machine. And after 3 times of restart, when the situation still occurs, then he's saying, okay, I give up, I cannot do anything, I give you the warning, so you know that something is going on. However, it's written the restart problem with GPU, free recovery attempt 1, and so on. You can see that the system tried to help with this. And it's very important because the cards hangs on, and that restart helps very often. So you don't need to see, you don't need to trace the machine all the time. You can trust our system that when it happens, the system is doing this automatically.
So your OS will automatically tune the overclocking on boot?
And now we are going to the most important. Yeah, you can overclock the machines remotely. You don't need to be with the keyboard and doing all that stuff with these crazy programs, but you can do this remotely. Very simple one, or much more detailed. If you are the pro user, you can do this by yourself, or you can flash the BIOS, the BIOS, remotely again. So it's very easy to, if you've got some musician who create for you a BIOS with the best possible settings for mining Ethereum, you can upload this BIOS and then send it to all your cards by one click. So you don't need to spend time for flashing the cards one by one and moving it. And this is really terrible work. But here is also the second option. The first one is initial, so you just restore the original BIOS. You don't need to bother yourself with collecting the original BIOSes for warranty, because for warranty you need to save, to restore the original one. So you don't need to do this by yourself. If you need original BIOS, you just click initial. It's done. Yes? The card, you got original BIOS, you can send it to the factory for reparation. But there is also an auto. It means our system will build the BIOS for you. So you don't need to be really a magic guy, or you don't need to know someone who knows how to build the BIOS, but you can say, okay, let system build this for us, for me. You can see all your BIOSes, you can see this is the type of the cards, and this is the BIOSes for one particular card. You can upload, download, and all that stuff, of course. You can also create something like config presets. So you can say, okay, this BIOS for this particular card, this overclocking settings, store it as my settings 1. And then you can send the settings to all matching cards. And this is one of the tricky things. You can buy, and it happens to us when we bought from AMD 200 cards. And they've got sequential serial numbers. So they were from one batch. In true, we received 5 different cards. Because there are different memories, different types of other parameters. For the retail, it's one card. From one, it was an Asus probably. But in true, there were 5 different constructions. And you cannot check, you cannot take the settings from one construction and put it to the another, because they've got completely different type of settings. And our system is recognizing in detail the type of the card, not only the manufacturer or the type of the GPU or memory or that stuff, but also more detailed information, like a memory producer, the memory vendor. Yeah? And then when we've got one kind of settings, it is copied only to the proper card. You don't need to afraid that we copy bad settings or to the different card.
What kind of performance variance did you get over those 200 cards?
From 28 megahashes to 32.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a huge one. Yeah. And okay, you can see some settings for one card and all that management, because it's not simple. Everything is done remotely. You can do this very easily with I would say, quite nice interface. And also you can you can set the machine that is completely managed automatically. So when there will be, you've got a new machine, you put the motherboard, all the cards, and you can mark that machine as managed automatically. So you don't need to do anything. It will be overclocked, flashed, all the stuff will be copied or done automatically. You don't need to do anything really. So it's really very easy to add a new machine. Or you can still manage the machine individually by yourself manually. Of course, when we mine, we need to make a work order. So you can choose what kind of pool do you want to use, which kind of currency do you want to use, and proxy and all that stuff. We've got some predefined settings for the most popular pools, but you can also create your completely own work order. So you can use your own pool, all your different settings if you like it. And there is one thing, because I heard that someone says that most of the mining is done in China, and it's not true. No, we got only mining pools, and when we got a mining pool, then yes, that's true. 3 biggest mining pools for Bitcoin, or 4 biggest mining pools, are located in China. But the workers who mines for that pools are from around the world.
That's true. Yeah.
So that in case when any pool will start to do something bad, I'm sure that miners are very sensitive for that. Very sensitive. We could see what happened 1.5 years ago when we got this voting for before the Bitcoin Cash was hard forked and something. There was a very huge movement between mining pools because workers moved from one mining pool to the another just because they don't want to support, for example, Bitcoin Cash. This was really good test if it's really decentralized. So it is centralized because the pools are really a huge one and they are in China. However, when something will be going on bad with it, they will move to another. So,
That's a good point.
so you can create a work order preset so you can store it. You don't need to remember all these settings for the wallet and for the mining pools and so on. And then you can, let's say here we've got 3 different work order presets, and by one click I can send the settings to one particular machine or to all my machines or some machines. So I don't need to make a copy-paste between many machines. It really takes seconds to start mining another coin. Some feature connected with the auto fan because there are the fans in the cards and the drivers which are created by NVIDIA or by AMD. They are not prepared for mining, so the fans are working in a very bad way. Here you can override the settings and you can send the settings that when the card is very hot, you make it 100%, it's a little cooler, let's slow it down because it's not only the noise, but it makes fans work longer. And the same is with the ASICs. So if you got some ASICs, do you use ARM miners?
I have old Butterfly Labs ones.
Excuse me?
Butterfly Labs.
Okay.
I have the old ones, yeah.
So you can see all your ASICs, you can manage, you can send the pool configuration, you don't need to connect to each machine one by one, everything can be done, what's really very important, remotely. You don't need to be even on the location. Yeah? So you can be, right now I can, by using my app, I can change the settings of my machines.
What has to be installed on the actual miner to get this IDE to work? Do you need a web server or do you need a WebRTC? What do you actually need?
To start the rig, the GPU
I mean,
miner?
like, to connect the web,
For the ASICs?
yeah, how do you actually connect this physically?
Okay,
What do you install?
for the rig, when it uses our software,
Okay.
it connects with our server, of course. But
Okay.
when you've got ASICs, then you need some special. I've got one. You need something like that. It's someone likes that kind of small machines, Raspberry Pi. You know it? Something smaller. It's called NanoPi, and everything what you have to do is plug the Ethernet cable here, the power here, and leave it. Then all your ASICs will be managed remotely through this machine.
That's cool.
Actually, if I knew you were bringing that, I would have brought my little, I have an Intel Movidius chip. You know, it's a GPU for the Raspberry Pi.
Oh, okay. You can even manage, yeah, that's true, but there are people who use Raspberry Pi to manage the GPU accounts. So, yeah, so managing the ASICs is really very easy, and on the end, of course, what have you to do? Sorry. To use our software, of course, you need to register. Very simple. Download our software. If you are talking about the GPU miners, for example, Etcher is very good tool to flash the pen drive. Very simple on every platform, and it works like a magic. But there are some more advanced features. For example, you can create the clients. So this is very popular. If you've got 1,000 machines, you own only, let's say, 200. Rest of them is owned by some other people, and you only manage the machines for them. And they need some access to the machines to be sure that they are working. So you can create an account, and they can see some basics information about the machines in a read-only way. So you can create them accounts